Welcome to Cooking Time with Steve. So today we're going to make a vegan chili. And what are you going to need to make that chili? Well, chopped tomatoes, kidney beans. Chopped tomatoes, don't bother buying Napolina ones for like 10 quid a tin. They're just the same as the Smart Price 31 pence ones. Some borlotti beans, rice of your choice. Don't get the shitty quick cook rice. I'm going to show you how to do basmati rice ready in 10 minutes. Couple of peppers, some jalapeno peppers, just there, very blurry, and some natural soya protein mince, or TVP as it's called, textured vegetable protein, which is just kind of like dried soybeans that's been rolled into like cornflakes. Some smoked paprika, salt and pepper, garlic that's hiding away here, and a bouillon cube, obviously not beef stock if it's going to be vegan, and then some other bits and bobs, some crushed chilies, which probably aren't many left, some chili powder. You don't need to see all of the ingredients, a bit of salt and pepper. And this is pretty much all you need to make an absolutely amazing chili con carne. So let's get started. And we've only got 8 minutes of footage, so the video can only be 8 minutes long. We're going to do a time lapse. Oh, we need some onions. Oh yeah. Because, you know, everything has onions in it. Just about. Anyway, we're going to crack on. And the video seems to be leaning slowly to one side, for no apparent reason. But we'll leave that cut there. Hopefully that'll have synced. Right, so you're probably thinking the first thing that we're going to do is chop some onions, but actually no, we're going to move all of these. But this, the natural soya protein mince, and knock over the paprika. The reason being, this needs to be soaked to absorb moisture or water, and it is suitable for vegans. There probably isn't a French word for that, because the French don't know what veganism is. Tell a lie, they probably do, but it just doesn't seem a popular thing in France. So what are we going to do? We're going to weigh 50 grams of this, not knock it over at the same time, and we'll end that there. So, just like the red hot chili peppers, we're going to give it away. 50 grams. So half of that scale, whatever's on that scale. 50 grams is roughly the equivalent, when expanded, to about the same amount as 500 grams of beef mince. A little bit over there. That's about 50. Excellent. So now that you've got your wonderful textured vegetable protein, if we can get it into focus, we want to soak it to give it some flavour. Not a difficult task. So giving something away, not a difficult task, but that is done. But now what we need to do is give it a soak. Excuse the terrible audio. Bouillon cube. I don't know if these are powdered. They are. No, they're not. Smells positively beefy, with none of that horrible dead animalness. Drop it in, boil some water. And now you're going to get a lovely sound of me filling the kettle. I'm cut across the shot, so because you know I'm amazing at making YouTube videos. Zoom in on that shit. I think we need a bit of a higher angle. You raise me down up so I can see the chopping board. Yeah, I'm not a Josh Groban. So we'll wait for that to boil. I think we're going to stop the recording there and wait for it to boil. Because it's going to be like 10 minutes. Right, the kettle has boiled. We're going to add the boiling water. No shit. To dissolve that stock cube. Come on, dissolve. Dissolve, you bastard. Now, it'll kind of smell a bit weird. It does smell absolutely horrible. But once that cube has decided to disappear into that water, it'll smell very beefy. And this will kind of look like slop. But trust me, once we've left that to soak up all of that goodness, all of that flavour, because really, without that cube, there's no flavour. So this is rolled soya oats as such. If you think of it as rolled oats, but being soya beans. You know, because this is very cinematic footage. And just let it soak. And then to give it a little bit of colour, I add some Sarson's browning, along with some Henderson's relish. Like we were doing a shepherd's pie. Without the pie. No, without the sheep in it, or whatever's in it. I don't know. Oh shit. Bit too much there. Pro tip, don't put that much in, because you'll end up with just black mince. This is now going to be black mince chilli. I've just made that up right now. So, let that soak all that flavour up. And turn it into a death metal track. No, terrible. I cannot sing in the style of death metal. Let that soak it up, and we'll leave that and forget about it for about half an hour. Now we're going to chop the onions in my terriblest impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terriblest. Is that even a thing? It might be a thing, I don't know. So leave that alone, ignore it for a bit. It'll soak all that goodness up. And now on to chopping the onions. You can probably hear me walking 4 miles across the other side of the room to get the onions. Even though the onions are just like there. So what you need is a really, really big knife and a really sharp knife, like one of these. They come default, blunt by default because they're crap, because that's how they are. Also, another pro tip, if you're like me and can't be bothered tidying up, all I do is get another bowl, like that, and then whack a bin bag over it. Or one of the bags from a supermarket that you get your fruit and veg in. Like this. And what you can do is you can peel your onion here, so it goes straight into here. He says, come on. Now, I'm not a professional onion chopper, and people will probably be cringing at me chopping or peeling an onion. There's so much better way to do it. Yeah, there probably is, but I haven't looked it up on YouTube yet. So, if you could send me a link to pro tips on peeling onions, and this is where you're going to get see me crying. Well, you won't see me crying. You can probably just see my arm because I don't know how to film correctly. Let's shift this all across here a little bit. Is that a better angle? A little bit. I think that's peeled fairly well. Trying to give it a little twist. My first kiss went a little like this. And twist. Yeah, you can tell that's sharp. I've sharpened that with a whetstone. I'll show you what they are. 2 whetstones, actually. I highly recommend you get them. Japanese whetstones. Don't look anything special. Soak them in water. Google it or YouTube it. Look at a video and then get a polishing stone. Polish the blade to within an inch of its life, and you'll end up with razor sharp blades, which you need, because a sharp knife is a safe knife. See how long we've got left on the memory card. So bob that into a takeaway tray. Can speed this bit up. Probably got way too much onion here, but Arnold Schwarzenegger would be impressed. I'm making a Bo Selector reference if anybody knew what that was. Stick that off to one side and ignore it. Wipe this. Boom, shakalaka laka boom, boom, boom. Now, whew, that's strong. Right, part 2, Hot Shots Part 2, or Part Derp. Garlic. Easiest way to chop garlic, break it up. Put as much garlic in as you like. Pro tip, don't put a whole bulb in. That is a garlic clove. I thought that was a clove. It's not. They're cloves. So if we look down the barrel, if the autofocus stops being a complete piece of shit, we cut down here like that. Same again, same again, same again. That pops out like that. And then on its side, like this. And all of this comes out like that. Dead quick. I don't know why the camera stopped recording. I'm sure it was still recording. Anyway, I best resync the audio. Do that. Put this in the bin. And then what I tend to do is to cut it halfway, like that. And then, be careful not to cut your fingers off. And it slices really easily, like so. Don't know why, it just feels easier to do it this way. Lose half of it on the floor because you're an idiot. And then these you can just cut down like this. Yeah, if that wasn't enough that the knife was sharp. And then this one, down the middle like this. Cut away from you. Try and always cut away from you. And be very careful. And then cut it up however you want it. There we go, extra peppers. Add them into the pepper tray. Oh. You can bin that if you want. So there are your peppers. Now we need some jalapenos. Love jalapenos. Not much to it. Like that, straight down the middle. Seed them if you want to. I personally don't bother usually, but I'll just quickly show you how to do that. There's probably better ways online that you can do it. Like this. Pro tip, if you go to the loo, gents and ladies, and think, oh, I'll save time and just go straight to the loo and wash my hands afterwards, wash your hands before and after you go to the loo. Because things down there will get a little bit warm. Just a little bit warm. So de-seed your jalapenos. Jose the jalapeno. It's turning out to be one amazing cooking program. No. And then you can chop them however you like them. I personally leave some of the seeds. I'm not going to be too bothered if the seeds are there. Gives us some extra kick. I can feel everyone judging me now for my chopping ability. And then a red pepper just for some warmth. It's a little bit dry, but, you know, it's been left in the cupboard. They don't tend to go off too much. Do you know what? I'm actually going to leave these seeds in with this because I want some heat. Gonna get some heat, man! Again, I can feel you judging me for my chopping skills. There we go. Super. Now let's have a look. Let's come back to our lovely textured vegetable protein. Doesn't look too much like beef mince, but once we get all the shit together, I assure you it will. Can actually do with focusing on the damn thing. Probably just watched a very, very blurry video. Well, it's a learning curve. Focus your shit. So we've got chilies. We've got peppers, chilies and peppers, garlic and onion, the actual chili itself, chopped tomatoes, and I think we're about ready to go. So I'm going to take a break and get back to you in just a little while. Right, now we're going to do the rice. I don't know if the other part of the video saved for whatever reason because I didn't press record on the camera. And so rice is dead easy to do. We're going to use the Steve's Kitchen method. I'll put a link in the video description. Nothing related to myself. So you need your rice, obviously. And basmati, any long grain rice will do. Don't get quick cooked because it's terrible. And we'll go from there. So measuring rice, dead simple. You might think that I'm an absolute mentalist. But I do 2 cups of rice to 2 cups of water. Or 2 mugs of rice. This is a very Fort Boyard mug, just off the coast of La Rochelle in the south. I'm not sure which part of France. It's in France somewhere on the Atlantic side. And if you go to La Rochelle, they do the Red Bull something diving in La Rochelle Harbour. I think actually 1.5 cups or mugs will be just fine. So what we do, whack that in there, and then we fill it with water, as they say in Yorkshire. Check out that audio. And then what we do is we massage the rice. Oh yeah. So what we're doing, we're washing the starch off of it so it doesn't clump together. Just give it some gentle rubs, like if you're doing a belly rub to a dog or a cat, although the cat will murder you within 3 seconds. And then what you want to do is, if you can see the water is kind of very, very murky. You want to do that about 3 or 4 times until the water is clear. I come from a long history of rice massagers. My father was a rice massager, my uncle was a rice massager, my great-great-grandfather was a rice massager. No, we weren't. Make sure the starch is off, give it another wash. So empty the water out. So what I will do is I'll come back to you when that's done. Right, now that the rice has been successfully massaged and cleaned, what we're going to do is add the same amount of water. Yes, that sounds absolutely insane. The exact same amount of water as we put in. 1 part rice to 1 part water. And the reason being is because I cook it on a low heat. Oh. Along with some salt. It was 1.5 cups. You can see now that you can actually see the rice through the water rather than the murky water. So a bit of salt and pepper. Pepper. Bit of salt. Just like that. And then, as mental as this seems, we're going to put some cardamoms, whole cardamoms. If I can find the whole cardamoms. Also, you'll probably need coriander. Coriander, coriander. Come on, piece of shit camera. There we go. Well, just give me a moment so I can find these damn cardamoms. I'll come back to you with the cardamoms in a moment. Right, so we found the cardamoms. They're actually brand new cardamoms. And this will give your rice a nice, flavourful taste. I quite like a few, not quite that many. About 3 or 4. Give them a nick with your knife, just to open them up a little bit. Like this. Whack them in there. Star anise. Asda don't think when they shove these in here. I'm sure they put them in like a ship in a bottle or whatever. So it'll give it a nice sweet flavour. The cardamon's kind of a spicy flavour. And then we want some bay leaves. I got mine from Jalpur Millers on Amazon. 100 grams worth way better value than getting it in these. Not really shitty, but people don't tend to use this that often, so you may as well. Is it going to focus? Get it in these tins. So that's sorted. Put that on a hot heat. I know that's very obvious. Put it on a heat until it starts to boil. And then we'll come back once the rice is done, along with the chilli. Right, let's get on with cooking. So put your rice on. Not turning on the correct hob. We'll get there eventually. Put that on a high heat until it starts to bubble up and boil. In the meantime, pop that on there. It saves a little bit of energy. In there, olive oil. Make sure you get that really nice and hot. And then you want to put your onions in first. Wait until that's searingly hot. Drop those in. Wait for those to start and kick off. Get your borlotti beans, get your kidney beans. Put those in a separate pot. The reason being you want those kind of hot, and you want to use the brine from those, or whatever the brine is, I don't know, the water, which has absorbed a little bit of the starch from those in order to help thicken what you're making. And we're risking it for a biscuit right now, because we're on low battery. So, on another hob, get that warming up. If it'll work. We'll turn that one down a little bit. Will this autofocus? Borlotti beans. Give them a shake. Give your beans a shake. Undo them. I don't know why I'm telling you to do this, you probably know how to do this. It smells gorgeous. Oh, it was gorgeous! So, kidney beans in. Borlotti beans in. And some of them tend to stick to the bottom. Bit of water. Stick that in there. Give them a shake. Give them a whirl. Let them heat up. In the meantime, you can wash your tins, because I like to recycle, and if you don't like to recycle, then I have no words for you. Oh, I haven't got time for that. Well, it's just took 3 seconds to wash both of those tins and put them in the recycling bin. So if you haven't got time to do that, then I haven't got time for you, I'm afraid. And then in goes our TVP, which is now positively soaked up all of that shite, all of that beefiness. Dump that in. And now, really, it's like making any other chili con carne, basically. Work that in, work it in, baby. Oh, yeah. See what it tastes like. Positively beefy. So we need a means of escape. No, actually stirring things. See that? Probably looks just like normal starts of a chili. Now you want to put your herbs and spices in. So, coriander. Some of you may taste soap or cat piss. This is normal, it's a genetic thing. If you don't like it, you can omit it. I like a bit of majoram or tarragon. Got that wrong there. Cumin. Kind of tastes like a Bombay Bad Boy pot noodle. Drop that in. Coriander leaf. And there we are for now. Crank that heat up. We also want a bit of smoked paprika, the one that I told you to do at the beginning. Or that I mentioned at the beginning. I do put quite a lot of this in. Put as much as you like in. It'll turn a lovely deep red colour. Because you want this to be flavourful. Because vegan stuff tends to not absorb. It tends to be very bland, and you need to absorb. It needs to absorb flavour for its taste flavourful. Work that in. Fruit and veg. Fruit and veg? What? Yeah, whatever. Words. Get that in there. Check on that. Need to turn the heat up a bit. I want this to warm up first. Battery is still very low, but we're probably managing. I have spilt a little bit on the worktop, but hey. Should probably change the battery at some point. I don't even know if we're recording sound. I might have to voice it over. So then this is going to start to dry out. At this point you want to add your chopped tomatoes. Again, put those in. A little bit of water. I know some people will be going absolutely apeshit right now because they say it's watering it down, but if you reduce it down with water anyway, reduce it down so some of the water evaporates, you've not really lost anything. That's my logic anyway. Give it a stir. How long have we got left on the recording time? 1 minute and 22 seconds before the memory card overheats. So that's starting to boil. We will cut the video there. So a bit of a progress update for everyone. This is the chili so far. Looking absolutely scrumdiddlyumptious. Can't really show it you. Unfortunately, I've run out of tomato paste as well as flour. So the tomato paste, I can't really make it redder. And look at the rice. Look at it. Look at it. Perfectly cooked in 10 minutes. 1 part water to 1 part rice. All of that flavour in there. Tastes absolutely amazing. Perfectly cooked. Just needs fluffing with a fork. Tastes amazeballs. Mmm. So on the unfortunate note that we ran out of and probably lost a lot of audio and video because my phone decided to screw up, we're going to use some McDougal's. I don't know why I decided to say it like that. McDougal's. Are they instant? I know this autofocus certainly isn't bloody instant. Anyway, using some McDougal's nonsense in there, help it thicken up. I would use flour and some tomato paste, but like I say, I've lost it. It's either gone out of date or I actually can't find it. I usually have tomato paste at hand, so it's going to be quite a dark chili con carne. And then I'll show you some B-roll footage of it later. So we can listen to Barry White. No. Let's film that B-roll.